I made a video about this the other day and I did nothing with it. And I'm on the Oregon coast now for a few more days in yachts. And I was told, make another video. So I'm doing it. The world is in turmoil. We're seeing people who are doing things. And you're like, how can they think that way? How can they do those things? Because we come from different lenses. So I want to explain why it seems like you can't understand how the other half thinks. And this is why I got to be on all different atmospheres financially and abundance. I grew up poor, scrappy, car was repossessed, beaten, sexually abused. We had all the torture and all the horrible things, but we were poor. We were your typical really poor family growing up in a small town in southern Nevada. It was Henderson. It was a small town at the time. And I want you to pay attention to this. Back then, when I was young, there was a list of all of the career opportunities out there. Each one of these jobs had a breakdown on how many years it took to achieve that income and then what the pay scale was for that job. So you knew what you were doing. You had to go to school for a long time, but you knew going in. And so a lot of us just went and got jobs. A lot of people I knew went to college because that was part of their plan. That wasn't even my language. We didn't have that opportunity. I went later and it was fun, but you shouldn't have to do that because it's what you do. But here's what the deal is. Here is the difference between us. I was poor. My mom married five men. She was, it was it for her. We were just there. We were just there. And I'm going to talk about that. We were birthing babies. So everybody just had babies because that's what you do. And we were just in her way at the same time. So we were off on our own while her husbands did to us what they did. And fast forward, the torture, the abuse, and everything that I went through. When I moved out of the house, I was still dragging my knuckles. I was still scrappy because I had no idea what I was supposed to do with my life. My mother was not a good role model. The woman who married five men told me to try on a lot of pairs of shoes before I buy them. She married all of hers that she tried on. There was something about my mama. I don't know what it was. But the best thing about it, she was the world's worst mother. And I am so grateful that that's who I had to grow up with. Because of that, I was an engineer. I was making my own toys. I was making my own fun because we had no choice. Now, I want to fast forward. That was my childhood. I had two sisters. We were poor. We were in survival. At around 30, I flipped the script. I dropped the victim story. And then I ended up moving to Washington and I married a man who was a definite upgrade. It was like he had a master's degree. He was like white collar. I was not used to that. I had a child with this man. And so I got to see what it is like to grow up on the other side of the coin. My child was raised abundant. She had a syllabus when she was born. We didn't have her preschool picked out. We didn't know she was going to have heart defects. We had to deal with a couple of heart defects, a couple of surgeries. But I'm watching how this life unfolds as she's like 3 and 4 and he's researching what kind of skis to get his child. I'm like, she's 4. She just needs sticks. We're just showing her how to do stuff. But he's like, that's my department. But I didn't realize I couldn't see. I was so in the middle of it. There was nothing we couldn't buy. We were very well off. We were abundant, very abundant. His mom and dad, abundant. I mean, it was just like we never had to worry or think about anything about not having. But I walked away from that after 25 years. We've been together 30. And I knew stepping away from that, I was stepping back from this abundant life and the big house in the city and this cabin on the coast, which belongs to them. I get to stay here for 1 week and then I'm out of here. This was a life that I was part of. And to leave feeling icky and being around somebody I didn't want to be around anymore, I had to leave. And in doing that, I went back to not having anything. And that's where the bridge came through. That's where the books came through. My husband looked me in the eyes and said, Cari, you don't understand. For a child to be successful in this world today, they need to have a leg up. And that was when I wrote Man is Ruining His Own Nest. It came through me in 3 weeks because I am trying to prove anybody who has a leg up, they have a disability. They were told who they are, and they were raised where they were told, you're going to college, you're going to this preschool, you're going to go in this program, you're going to do this, you're going to dress like this, you're going to look like this. And they just go, oh, okay, okay, okay. They follow, they do it because that's all they know. They're told and everybody else is doing it. They know they've got something eating at them inside. That's just that thing that they want to be or do, and it's outside, it's in nature. But what they're told. So this is why the world you're told what you need to be successful. You're given a house, you got given a place to live, you're given a car, you're given college. You don't have to work during college. It's all about you getting your life on track. And then you move into your place and we'll take care of the bills, we'll take care of stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Kids who are abundant, who get everything handed to them, they don't have a fire in their belly. They don't have some dire thing in their soul that's saying, I just want to go be this. I need to be who I am because they've got everything they need and they don't want to upset the apple cart. They don't want to upset the apple cart because, man, if all of a sudden that life got derailed, and I have an amazing story about this in the bridge about a woman who was abundant her entire life. And then she met Gabriel from Brazil, and they were together for a long time. They moved in together. The moment she moved in with him, her parents cut her off. It was like she didn't know there was a line in the sand when suddenly she wasn't provided for anymore. He was used to her being provided for. It was just something they weren't ready for. And this practically killed her, having everything always. And then suddenly you're cut off, you're on your own, you got to figure it out. Having nothing always is a gift. And then the more you don't have and the more time you spend completely alone, you realize you don't need the gift of humans because they just eat at you and they show you their icky stuff and the stuff they believe in that isn't true. So we're looking at this world, people who come from poverty and scrappy abuse, and we have the fire because never are we ever going to go starving again. Are we ever going to do without? We are going to make it. We're the fighters on the planet because we deserve to feel better than we did when we were young. And so those of us who are the fighters, we are the ones who are going to pave the way and lead the way. And we're going to come from a space of love because we know what it feels like to love and be loved. Because when you're not, you know the contrast. People who come from nothing, people who have a really hard start to life, they are the ones I would hold on to. They are the ones I would follow because those of us who are privileged, who are given everything and told, here's what you're going to be and here's how you're going to do it, we come from hate and anger and we despise because we never felt love because we were told what we were. So when you see the world divided, marriages, are like fighting over what's going on because where you came from and what your story was depends on what's going on in the world, what you see and how you feel about it. I came from nothing and I just see world's gone crazy, but I've been pulled aside for many years to write these books about fixing the world. But you're seeing it and you're feeling all these emotions, and I'm trying to explain why. It's the lens you were raised with. And you really need to look at this. If you were told you're going to college and you just did it, it was a next natural step, and you kind of had a lot of guidance on the direction you might go, sit with that and think, would I have chosen that? Would I have picked that life? You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have picked the family either. There's so much more, but I'm going to keep this short. So try to look at life through a different lens. The way people are fighting, the way they're hating each other, and it's going to escalate. It's going to get ugly. Back, step away, go to your heart and think, why am I feeling this way? And the best thing you could ever do is just stop watching the news, stop watching what's going on because you just fuel the fire with your feelings. It's feeding the monster. Just don't watch it. Don't get happy or sad. Just go to nature, be one with nature, connect with God, and then you're going to find your way home. That's all I teach is about that. I am not special. I am just the one person who happens to be a speaker and now a writer who went all through her life with humans and then separated from humans for many years. And in doing so, I became silent and I hear from the heavens. My work comes through me and I've stayed silent. I never plugged into people even after I finished any of my books. I had more coming. By plugging into anything outside of my silence, I clog my channel and I will never clog my channel. I know I'm going to be in control of my reality when I leave my privacy because I can't have it any other way. There will be times when I'll be speaking in front of thousands, but I'm not going to be at a party with six because I can't chit chat. I can't sit there and say, how are you? Because you'll tell me and then I'll tell you why you shouldn't be that way. My life has become magical because it's being alone that does it and being brought back to the fact that we don't need anything. Stuff doesn't matter. I have the same clothes I'm wearing day in and day out. I have nothing that would even slightly resemble a designer label because why would we need that? I don't want to put stuff on me that tries to make a story about who I am by what I wear. I like just wearing what I got on, what feels comfortable. I am me. I can't be anything but. And I can't look at life from a lens of privilege and having, because guys, you really don't want that stuff. You really don't. Anybody can get to where I am. You just have to be willing to go solo, step out of every story you have been involved in, look at it, bless it, say thank you for the lesson, because that's all it was. It was a lesson. Take the lesson, don't carry the mountain, and you will step here. You will be where I am. It is truly as simple as that. Carrie Palmer, I'm out.